Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. Welcome to the joint meeting of Lubowa and Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Clubs. Tonight's theme is going to be Make Them Laugh. Join us for an inspiring meeting where we're going to learn how to use humor as public speakers and leaders to connect with our audiences. Toastmasters International, for those of us who are joining our Toastmasters meeting for the first time, is a non-profit educational organization that teaches public speaking and leadership skills through a worldwide network of clubs such as Lubowa Toastmasters and also such as Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters. And our missions as clubs in Toastmasters is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. At Watabaruku Toastmasters, where I'm a president, we help Toastmasters become advanced speakers through in-depth evaluations, targeted education sessions, and personalized coaching. Every meeting is designed to challenge your skills, stretch your abilities, and equip you to deliver speeches with greater impact and confidence. And from my interactions with the Lubowa Toastmasters and the members of Lubowa Toastmasters, it is the advanced version of Toastmasters in Uganda because of the kind of results that we've seen from the members of that club. And so they would have the same description. Before we proceed, I would like to invite the Sergeant at Arms of Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters to please give us the meeting rules. Over to you, Tigist. You're muted, Tigist. I'll proceed to give the meeting rules. I think she's having trouble with sharing. And this evening for our meeting is going to be recorded, so please make a note of that. Whenever you speak, we encourage you to, whenever you are in the meeting, we encourage you to have your videos turned on throughout so that you can encourage our speakers and the participants in the meeting. Please only speak when it is your turn. Otherwise, keep your mic on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, great.
Back to
Sorry,
you.
there must be some kind of a tech error.
It's all right.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, super. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our meeting this evening. I'll be sharing the meeting etiquette. I believe you can see my screen. Yeah, so I'll start with sharing a standard online meeting statement, which are basically disclaimers that we need to take note of as part of being part of this meeting. And they are, by attending this remote joint club meeting, you agree to the privacy policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the associated remote hosting service. You also accept that some of your personal information, your name, image, and any shared messages can be shared with other meeting participants and will be recorded by Toastmasters International. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, liabilities, and so on. So these are standard disclaimers. By way of etiquette, I think the renaming conventions have already been shared in the messages, but just to remind you, we have renaming conventions that are allied to the different roles we have in the meeting. The presiding officer will rename themselves as hashtag #pre_name. Sergeant at Arms, that will be me. Hashtag SA_name, Toastmaster of the Day, hashtag TMOD_name, General Evaluator, hashtag #GE_name, timer, #timer_name, accounter, #accounter_name, grammarian, similarly, #GRA_name, table topics master, #TT_name. We have a chat master today, and they will rename as #chat_name. Speakers, we have 2 speakers. We're also requesting them to rename accordingly. #SP, the first speaker will put #1 _name. And in Watabaruku, we have 3 evaluators. We have content evaluators and delivery evaluators, plus the grammarian I've already covered. So the content and delivery evaluators will rename #CE for content evaluator. Then depending on the number of speakers they are evaluating, they'll put the number _name. Delivery evaluator, similarly, #DE, the number of speakers they're evaluating _name. If you're a Toastmaster without a role, including members of Watabaruku or Lubowa, you put your name _ and then the name of the club. And if you're a guest joining us, you're most welcome. Just put guest _ and then your name. We also have a few basic etiquettes that we request you to follow for us to have a smooth flow of the meeting. The first one is we encourage you to keep your video on throughout the meeting if possible. We also request that you mute your microphone unless it's your turn to speak. We encourage you to engage using emojis in the chat, and also encourage you to give feedback and vote when the polls are launched. There at several intervals we'll be launching polls for audience feedback apart from the standard evaluations that will be provided. So we strongly encourage you to engage and support the growth of your peers. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Madam Sergeant at Arms, for helping us by sharing those rules for our meeting this evening. And now I would like to give an opportunity to the President of Lubowa Toastmasters, Marvin Luyima, to please introduce members of his Exco. And Marvin says that the best gift that he has ever received is a stash of books that his little brother gave him on his birthday earlier this year. Over to you, Marvin, to introduce your Exco.
Okay, thank you very much, President Robert Karanja. To introduce my Exco, I'll start with our Vice President Education, Agnes Watsemba. If you can show your video and just wave to the people on the call, or just give a thumbs up. That would work. I also have on the call my Vice President membership, Kenneth Kajora. We also have our secretary, our quintessential secretary, Sharon Nampijja, on the call. And for the Vice President Public Relations, we have Albert Lomuge. Now, and I think finally, the treasurer, the money person, I don't see them on the call, but for now, anyone that's not on the call, we can take it that the two became one and settled with the president's role. So that's the Exco. For those who can put a thumbs up or clap their hands, we look forward to having a jolly time with Watabaruku Toastmasters today. I'm still learning how to pronounce that. Not sure what it means though.
Thank you so much,
Over
Marvin.
to you, Robin.
Thanks so much, President Marvin. I think Watabaruku means a place where people speak. I think that is the root of the word. Kevin Rubia might clarify that later when it's his turn to speak. I am Robert Karanja, DTM, the club president of Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club, and just to acknowledge the members of the Watabaruku Advanced Exco, we have Kevin Rubia, who is our Vice President Education, Gilbert Rutebemberwa, who is our Vice President Membership, Maggie Waithiru, who is our Vice President Public Relations, Sarah Wanjiku, who is the Secretary Treasurer, Tigist Hailu, who you've heard from, the Sergeant at Arms, and Kevin Kimbio, the immediate past president. And now I'd like to give an opportunity to people who are visiting us. And first up, I would like to give an opportunity to our district leader, the division director of Division C, Paul Kavuma. Over to you, Paul Kavuma, to please greet us. And as you're greeting us, please tell us what is the best gift that you've ever received.
Thank you so much, Robert Karanja. Good evening, Toastmasters of Lubowa, Watabaruku, and all visiting Toastmasters and guests. The best gift I've ever received was a thank you note that actually came from a Toastmaster that I was mentoring that year. She wrote to me and said, "Thank you so much. You won't believe how much your mentorship has done for me. I'm proud to be your mentee." That reignited my efforts in mentoring members in Toastmasters. I serve as the Division C director, and there's a high chance that the reason I'm still a leader is because of such appreciation that comes, especially during this time of the year. I'm happy to be here. Back to you, Robert Karanja.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Division Director. Those appreciations do go quite a long way in terms of encouraging us in serving the members of our community. I'm going to give an opportunity to a few of our guests to please greet us, tell us where they're joining us from. Let me start with the guest, Brian Kaya Manywa. Please tell us where you're joining us from and tell us what is the best gift that you've ever received.
Hi, can you hear me? Sorry,
Yes, I can.
Okay. I am Kiamanyo Brian, and I'm a guest. This is my first time attending any of the Toastmasters meetings. I am in Nantege. Nantege is along Entebbe Road just before you reach Lubowa when you're coming from town. Yeah. The best gift I ever received was, I'm breaking it. I had sweat of sorts. The best gift I've ever received was, there's a time, so it's a story. It's a long story. So it's Christmas, and all my nieces and nephews are around, and I find that they have written different notes thanking me for the things I've done for them throughout the year. It was really unexpected. And I think that was the best gift I ever received. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Brian, for joining us. Indeed, the best gifts are often free, or you really don't need to spend any money. You just need to appreciate people. And I'll give an opportunity to just one more guest, Geoffrey Ngigi. Please tell us where you're joining us from and what is the best gift that you've ever received. Geoffrey, are you there?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Geoffrey Ndegi from Kajiado in Nairobi. Kenya. Kajiado in Kenya, sorry. So the best gift I've ever received was a toy car when I was young from my father. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A toy car from your father. That is amazing when you are young. Thank you so much for all our guests for joining us this evening. Very quickly, going through a bit of our club business. For Watabaruku, the minutes of the previous meeting were shared in the Watabaruku WhatsApp group for the members. Are there any amendments to those minutes? There being no amendments, those minutes have been adopted as they were shared in the group. And now I would like to encourage us as we move on to introducing the Toastmaster of the day is to keep our videos on, especially when our prepared speakers are speaking to give them visual, positive, and supportive feedback. Tonight's meeting will be guided by our Toastmaster of the day, who will lead us through the prepared speeches, impromptu speaking, and evaluations, all tied together by our theme, Make Them Laugh. Our Toastmaster of the day this evening is Dr. Kevin Rubia, who is a medical doctor, clinical psychologist in training, and public speaking consultant. In 2025, he received his distinguished Toastmaster Award, the highest level of education achievement in Toastmasters. He is the Vice President of Education at Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club and the Club Retention Chair of District 114. A fun fact about him is that his appetite is inversely proportional to his height. That is a fun fact. The best gift that he's ever received is he received it this year from Kevin Kimbio, our immediate past president, who sent him the board game Kenya at 50. That is an amazing game if you've ever played it. And please put your hands together as we bring on the Toastmaster of the day, Kevin Rubia. Dr. Kevin Rubia, over to you to lead the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do not see the hands. Great. Brenda, I see them. Robert, Sunshine, DTM Sunshine, I see them. Great. Catherine, I also see them. Good. Otherwise, the meeting wouldn't have continued. Thank you for those hands. In that same vein, make sure that you use the chat as much as possible to interact, as this is an online meeting. It will help make the room a bit warmer. Feel free to also use the emojis. They are at the bottom of your screen, like that. Don't raise your hand though, as our timer has her hand raised and she'll tell us why when I call on her shortly. Now, Christmas is a time to be happy, a time to spread cheer, joy, talk about the triumphs of the year you've achieved and those that you're planning to do so in the forthcoming year. Sometimes you may be called to tell a joke, say something funny, so that we lighten the mood. After all, this is a fun season, Christmas cheer. What happens, though, is some of us may not be funny. In fact, we identify as boring. You might not even identify as boring, but everyone around you knows you are boring, whether you like it or not. If you consider yourself someone who makes us laugh at the drop of a hat, or someone who at best is as boring as paint drying, this is a meeting to help you uncover the humor, because each one of us has something to share, a funny story, we just may not know how. I do not run this meeting alone. I have a team, just like Santa has his elves. I have my own elves today who are going to help me run the meeting. Our president mentioned that the meeting is split into 3 parts. We shall have the prepared speeches, where Toastmasters, using Pathways, the educational program, took time to prepare their speeches and consulted their mentors in doing so. They will then deliver those speeches during this section. The next, friends, is the table topics. Table topics is an opportunity for those who won't have participated by that time to speak for a paltry 1 to 2 minutes and share your ideas. Then we'll have a break if time allows before we go to the final section, which is the evaluations, where the prepared speakers will receive their evaluations on content, delivery, and language, and we shall get reports from the grammarian, accounter, and timer. As it is Christmas, I asked my role takers, who I'm going to introduce shortly, this question. If Santa visited you or your family this Christmas, what would surprise him the most? If Santa visited you or your family this Christmas, what would surprise him the most? Jackie Jonjo, one of our latest members at Watabaruku, said she's struggling to think what could surprise him. He would, however, find a balcony instead of a chimney, mandazi and masala tea instead of milk and cookies. Jackie, let us know what you've prepared for us today.
Well, good evening, everybody. Today I'm your timer, and as the timer for this meeting, I will keep track of the time for prepared speeches, audience polls, table topic, breaks, evaluations, and reports. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red virtual backgrounds, which denote specific times. So for the prepared speeches and general evaluators report, they have 5 to 7 minutes each. I will show a green card at 5 minutes, a yellow at 6, and a red at 7. For the audience feedback poll, this will run for 1 minute after each speech. I will show a green card at 30 seconds, yellow at 45 seconds, and red at 1 minute. For the table topics and the language evaluations, these are 1 to 2 minutes each. I will show the green card at 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute and 30 seconds, and red at 2 minutes. Now, speakers are advised to speak for at least 1 minute. For the break and content, as well as delivery evaluations, these are allotted 2 to 3 minutes each. I will show green at 2 minutes, yellow at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and red at 3 minutes. Last but not least, for the grammarians report, which is 3 to 4 minutes, I will show green at 3 minutes, yellow at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and red at 4 minutes. We encourage all of you to try and speak until the green background is raised. Please do conclude your remarks within 30 seconds when you see the red background. And to spot me easily, I will keep my virtual hand raised. It's raised at the moment throughout the meeting. And at the end of the meeting, I will post the time taken by each speaker in the chat and deliver my report when called upon. Back to you, Mr. Kevin.
Thank you, my first elf, Jackie. When in Toastmasters, we clap a lot. Luckily, you're not in a physical meeting, so feel free to use the emojis or actually clap if your screen is on whenever someone has spoken. Our next role taker is Nakabuye Marianna, our accountant from Lubowa Toastmasters Club. If Santa visited her family, he would be surprised at the warmth and the love at their home. Over to you to spread this warmth and love to us, Nakabuye.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, apologies for that. Yes, so my role for today I will be the accountant for today. And my role for today is to look out for pause filler words or phrases like or and also to look out for current words that speakers will use to fill while giving their speeches. At the end of the day, I will come and give a speech as the accountant for the day. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster, for the day.
Thank you, Nakabuye, and thank you for even joining us amidst darkness. I hope all is well. Next is our newest member rather, of Watabaruku Toastmasters Club, Catherine Ochako. I will introduce Catherine after she tells us what her role as grammarian entails. Over to you, Catherine.
Thank you, Mr. TMD. Kevin, I'd like to share my screen to just show you the word of the day. Please confirm when you can see it. Oh my gosh. Guess you got the wrong screen. Sorry about that. Just a second. Can you see it?
Yes.
Perfect. As grammarian, I will listen carefully to everyone who speaks, noting excellent and improper use of language and usage of the word of the day, poultry. As you can see it, it is an adjective. It means very small or insignificant, or trivial or measly in amount of value, something that feels not worth the effort. I will read the first two sentences just for ease of use. The team was disappointed by the poultry results after weeks of preparation. I hope that's not to be said of this meeting. There's been a lot of preparation. Number two, she refused the offer because the pay was paltry. Whenever someone uses the word of the day or its derivatives, please acknowledge them by snapping your fingers. I'm sure there's an emoji to also show the same, or you can demonstrate that using the hand clap emoji. I'm trying to find it. I'm sure you all know it. I will also present brief language evaluations for each speech and give my full report when called upon. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Catherine. Remember, we shall snap our fingers whenever someone says poultry. Poultry is also the poultry, you know, the chicken. But that's not what we are using. We are talking about the other poultry. But even if you use that poultry, we'll still snap the fingers. Then the hand clap emoji, as most of you have done. Catherine, to my question, if Santa visited you or your family this Christmas, what would surprise him the most, said, Santa would meet two joyful little humans, age 4 and 2, bursting with excitement about Christmas magic and candy. As they slowly learn the deeper meaning of the season, the joy and wonder of Santa help make Christmas feel special and memorable for them. Thank you for that heartfelt response, Catherine. You can react, friends, by a heart emoji. Our next role taker is our general evaluator. He is Division C Director Paul Mwanga. Over to you to introduce your role. Paul
Thank
Kavuma,
you,
my apologies.
Paul Kavuma. Yes. I'm ready and looking forward to more of that mix up because we are two nations logging in today. Thank you so much. The gift I'm giving you, ladies and gentlemen, today is feedback. Feedback is that compass for greatness. It tells you what to avoid, what to learn, and what to excel at. The feedback I'll be giving everyone today, all the role takers, is how well this meeting has been planned and executed. So I'll be taking note of everything that goes according to plan and does not go according to plan. And at the end of the meeting, I'll be back to share with us feedback on how well we have run the meeting, what we can change to do even better next time. That's my gift to you today. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, our team of role takers. I will introduce the topics master later during her session. I'd like to first share the tips on how to be humorous, not just during this Christmas season, but thereafter into the new year. Let's see how you can make them laugh this Christmas and beyond. You can do so by kissing. Kissing. The first is K, which is know your type of humor. Unfortunately, kissing is not what you were thinking. It's an acronym with 4 points. K being knowing your type of humor. There are around 34 types of humor. We won't go through them, fortunately, during this meeting, because that would be rather boring and we have speeches to listen to. However, it's important to understand what you naturally gravitate towards. For example, I am a person who uses self-defeating humor or self-deprecating humor, especially when talking about my height. So much so that I use it in speeches to make fun of myself in a jovial way. What about you? Do you use puns? Are you a connoisseur of dad jokes? Is cringe your thing? Or perhaps irony? Slapstick, as an example, is using physical humor, most usually in comedies that we watch on television. I will post a link to all these 34 types of humor. For now, we shall close there on our first tip, which is K, which is know your type of humor. And we shall proceed to introduce our speakers. To introduce our speakers will be the content evaluators, and I call upon our first content evaluator, Winston Owino, to introduce President Marvin Luyima. Over to you, Winston.
After spending a great deal of time building a team, coming up with a plan, and implementing that plan, Marvin will today be relating to us his experience of this undertaking. He is presenting a speech under the section on managing projects successfully, and he has 5 to 7 minutes to deliver his speech entitled, What Me? What Me? I welcome Marvin Luyima.
What? Me? Yes. You. No. It can't be me. Yes. You. Toastmasters and our most beloved guests. When is the last time you are in a scenario where these words echoed in your mind? Could it have been a month ago, a week ago, or even today, or just a second ago? Well, I'm not sure about you, but for me, that was as recent as a month ago. I happened to be in a room full of people at church, given that I'm a leader of a choir at Munyonyo Matters Basilica. Having served well in the choir, I've been invited to participate in a number of committees at the church. But that's the easy part. What harm is there in attending a committee meeting and agreeing to everything? You never have to oppose anyone. You never have to take responsibility for any tasks. After all, they serve tea after all these committee meetings at the church. It so happened one day, as the parish priest, Father Malay, was talking in one of the meetings, and he started, "Fellow parish members, we are looking to raise about 1 billion shillings for a statue of Jesus." My mind said, go on, Father. I'll just agree with whatever you say and move on to the next item, which is having a sumptuous meal after this committee meeting. He went on to further say, "For the coordination of this, I think, Marvin, you can take this up." What? Me? Have you ever been in a room where you feel you're not up to the task, and yet somehow the task is up to you? That's exactly how I felt. This big statue of Divine Mercy Jesus, it's like I had been asked to raise money for the eighth wonder of the world. Think, for those who just don't get the context of this, think of the statue of Jesus of Brazil, but only this time, instead of building 64 meters, I was asked to be in charge of a fundraising for only 15 meters of it. 15 meters, which would cost a whooping 1.5 billion Ugandan shillings. Now, that might sound little for my American friends who just say, oh, only 300,000 US dollars. And it might be slightly more in Watabaruku, where you're coming from, or slightly less. But I was wondering, where am I going to find 1.5 billion shillings? Putting me in charge of this event means that the stakes were really high. I was reminded of a quote at this point by Isaac Newton that says, "If I have seen Father, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." I like this quote in Toastmasters, just not when I had to apply it in raising 1.5 billion shillings for a statue. Nevertheless, with a lot of doubt in my heart, a paltry? No, not a paltry. Very, very scared. Out of my wits, I accepted the challenge. I started out by identifying who can afford 1 billion shillings. I wrote down a list of names. Industrial tycoons. Had I ever spoken to them in my life? No. But somehow I had to build the bridges and the connections to them. I had to come up with a publicity plan. And before I knew it, I was doing a content marketing strategy where, for all the names that I had written on this particular list, I had to bring these people into a room and tell them, you're not here because of me, but you're here because of a cause greater than ourselves. We have to build the eighth wonder of the world, and this time it has to be not in Kenya, not at the Indian Ocean like you'd expect us to, but right here in Uganda, in a small place called Munyonyo. These people who I put in the room, I couldn't believe that I was the one in charge. Some were board chairmen of listed companies, others industrial steel magnates, others leaders of pharmaceutical companies, and yet here they were, listening to a man that barely had 1 million shillings in his account. I'm sure they would shake if they got to know that today, but lucky for us, none of them is on this call. After doing all this and bringing these people together, in a space of about 1 week, we were able to raise not the 1 billion I anticipated, but a paltry 100 million shillings, a tenth of the amount that we needed. I may not have achieved the 1 billion, but still I'd never raised 100 million shillings in my life. So next time you have a question, what? Me? Take up the challenge, because even if you fail, you still will not be in the same place when you started. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Marvin. For sure, your speech did not have paltry jokes. They were in abundance. I noted the pun that you used, up to the task, and somehow the task is up to you. Do you agree? Did you find it funny, friends? Another thing is the humor he injected when describing the voice of the pastor. That was humor in action. For now, we shall proceed to give him feedback using the audience poll that is going to be launched. Please let Marvin know, what did you like about the speech and how can he improve his next one? As you do so, I will give you the response when I asked, if Santa visited you or your family this Christmas, what would surprise him the most? Marvin's response was, a household full of babies and Christmas lights. He and his wife got a little daughter this year. She wasn't there when Santa visited last year. Congratulations, Marvin and your wife, for having a little one this year. Continue to vote. That wasn't just a cute story. You guys are supposed to be voting. Yeah. And I see your time is up. If you haven't voted, please just continue. It is fine as I call on, or rather to give your feedback, as I call on our second content evaluator, Toastmaster Patience Alaso, to introduce Gilbert Rutebemberwa. Over to you, Patience.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. I hope I can be heard and I'm visible.
Yes.
Now, thank you. When it comes to our second speaker, as you've all heard, his name is Gilbert Rutebemberwa. Toastmaster Gilbert is pursuing a speech under the pathway Leadership Development. It is his second level, and it is his first project themed Managing Time. As you give your speech, Toastmaster Gilbert, your purpose is to observe your time management patterns. And as well as you give your speech, I'll be looking out for your speech development, how the audience responds to your speech, and how valuable your speech is or how it resonates to your audience, and that is a speech value. Toastmasters and guests delivering his speech titled Perfecting My Running. Let's all welcome Toastmaster Gilbert Rutebemberwa. Perfecting My Running, Gilbert Rutebemberwa. Over to you.
Running is not a matter of sending one foot ahead of the other in a repeated manner. No, it's much more than that. It involves commitment, it involves planning, it involves consistency, it involves endurance. Unfortunately, most of us, the novice, when we start running, we don't get to understand this until maybe when it's too late. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I was introduced to running by my doctor, who recommended me for exercises after diagnosing me with high cholesterol. So exercises were among the things that he recommended. He did not give me the finer details. So all I had to do was to exercise by joining a club that was nearby, which is Fast and Furious Runners Club. At first, I didn't know much about running. So all I did was show up and follow along. I struggled with the gear that I used. I struggled catching up with the seasoned runners. I struggled with keeping up with the endurance that is required for running until I had to do better with time. Thanks to the team that was supportive, people were able to mentor me, were able to coach me, and with time, I learned that for me to perfect my running, there are some things that many would think are paltry things, but they matter when it comes to running because they bring with them the efficiency that comes with it, as I will list them below. One of the things that I found very, very important was discipline. As you know, most of the athletics, most of the sports require discipline. You have to train hard. You have to keep the appointment, the timetable for the training. You have to respect the rules of the team. You have to follow the instructions of the coach. So there is a lot of discipline that comes with it. And this is something that I learned along the way as I looked for ways of perfecting my running. The second thing that I learned from running was planning. As I mentioned earlier, previously I would just show up as long as I have any form of sneakers, I'm in shorts, I would show up for the run. But planning taught me that I need to identify the right gear that I would need to use for running, all the way from the shoes up to the cap, because they affect how I perform. They also affect my health. I could have easily injured myself by using the wrong gear. But also, that planning helped me to judge the race that I'm preparing for. If I'm preparing for a full marathon, which is 42 kilometers, I don't start very fast because there is a lot of journey ahead. I start slow. Even when I feel strong, I build along the way and keep energy for the finishing. These are things that I didn't know at first, and that's why I could not do long distance. The third thing I learned was endurance. Endurance. Long distance running requires endurance. Just like I mentioned, I started small, running 12 kilometers, 10 kilometers eventually. Then I spent most of my time running half marathon, which is 21 kilometers. This was because I had not put into consideration the benefits of managing endurance. And when I mastered that, that's how I graduated to running a full marathon, which is 42 kilometers. And guess what? I was also able to run what we call an ultra run, which is more than 42 kilometers. The longest I've run so far is 65 kilometers at a go. So endurance means that you store the energy for the longer haul. It also means that you look for the right nutrition to use before, during, and after the run so that I'm able to remain alive, hydrated, and with enough sugar and salt in my body. But it also means that I am able to go further with less effort. Fellow Toastmasters, I must say that I have now perfected my running. I have seen myself improve in terms of pace. I've improved in terms of distance. And all these are despite my aging. It looks like the older I become, the better I become at it, which can be surprising at times. Fellow Toastmasters, I encourage us to do planning, because when you plan, you are able to manage your time properly. If I have planned to do my marathon in 4 hours, then I plan my time, I pace myself, and I'm able to finish strong. I may exceed, I may make it less than 4 hours, but through planning, I'm able to get what I need. As I conclude, I leave you with this saying by Eliud Kipchoge, who said, "No human is limited." Toastmaster.
Are those poetry clubs that I can see? Let us be more active by clapping more. Thank you. I see you now. For our second speaker, and indeed both speakers, for speaking and sharing their stories. Gilbert, congratulations. You say no human is limited. I don't think I can run 65 kilometers at one go, maybe in my lifetime. Let us proceed to give Gilbert his feedback. Using the audience feedback poll that has been posted in 1 minute. We have 1 minute to do so, after which our timer will show me a red card. Please type in the chat yes if you are like Gilbert, who enjoys running. For those of us who find it quite deplorable, or maybe that's a bad word, let's say not our portion, you can type no. If running is not your portion, or the only time you run is after when someone is chasing you or something is chasing you, type no. But if you are a runner, please type why. Not your portion. Jackie, I'm with you. No. Oh, no. We are many non-runners. That's interesting. As we continue to give our feedback to the runner, Gilbert Rutebemberwa. I will also post in the chat a link to the 34 types and styles of humor. Feel free to look at that in your free time. It has pictures and it has descriptions of what each type of humor entails. And tip number 1 was know your humor. In case you've joined us, we have concluded the first part of our Toastmasters meeting today, which was the prepared speeches. Yes, in my lifetime. I'm reading a comment in the chat. Now, we said to help uncover your humor, we have 4 tips, and the acronym is K.I.S.S. K.I.S.S. That K.I.S.S you're thinking about, yes, that one. The K stands for know your type of humor, and the link to help you know your type of humor has been posted in the chat. We'll now proceed to vote for our better speaker between the 2 of the speakers, Marvin and Gilbert. As you do that, I will introduce the second point, which is I.
Demo is doing for English. Press.
The beauty of online speeches is humor is not poultry. At any point, things happen. Have you ever been in a meeting and you either disappear or someone on the other side is robbed in front of your eyes? That's not funny, but things do happen. Some of us have joined perhaps with no clothes on, praying and hoping that your video is still off throughout. That is still humorous. And you'll know more about that in the 4th tip. What was I doing? I was sharing the second tip. The second tip is include your audience. Include your audience. Including your audience means knowing who your audience is. I see someone is checking their video. You're okay, Regina, though you're coming up shortly. Even though you may know what the type of humor that works for you, that type of humor may not work for your audience. For example, if you like dirty humor, that may not be the type of humor you're going to share with your grandparents, for example. So knowing your humor and making sure that you include everyone in the jokes that you're going to give will help you communicate in a jovial way where people laugh, other than offending them, which could be the case when you do not include everyone. Our topics master is Club Secretary Regina Nantege. Over to you to take on table topics by introducing your role and taking on the reins. Let's clap for her as she comes to the stage.
Thank you very much, Kevin, for hosting me on this meeting, and I will be chairing the table topic segment. For the guests, table topics is an impromptu speaking opportunity. Impromptu speaking means that you speak without planning. We had some prepared speeches, but now we're going to hear from people who have not prepared to speak, but are ready to speak because you have content and you can't be able to share. The table topic segment allows us to speak for 1 to 2 minutes, and it is a speech with an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Please do feel free to turn on your video and unmute in case you're ready to speak. You can also volunteer yourself. You can gift yourself a table topics segment. Remember, don't be shy. Participate in the segment. Participating in this segment allows you to become a better speaker and become even more humorous. I see guest Brian is ready because his video is on and he's even raising his hand to offer a table topic. But now he's waving. I think it's gestures.
No, I was just trying to call myself, but
But you
no, I'm not
are
ready.
ready. Can you kindly become my first table topic speaker? Usually we start with a Toastmaster, but who am I not to start with the most ready guest? Brian, table topics is an opportunity for you to improve your speech, so take it on. Grab it by the horns.
And I
want
can
to ask
speak about
you a
anything?
question. Yes, I'm going to ask you a
Oh,
question.
okay.
And
Okay.
I will say your name. After I say your name, you start to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. If you see a yellow card from the timer, you want to run towards the conclusion of your speech. Enjoy yourself. 1 to 2 minutes is a good time for you to leave a lasting impact. Brian.
All right. Now,
tell us about a Christmas plan that went completely wrong, but is funny now. Tell us a Christmas plan that went wrong, but is funny now.
So
Brian, the stage is yours.
The year is 2016, but this is not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. Can I pull back and run and be shy? I know you say don't be shy, but this is really impromptu.
Continue to share the story. Tell us about, Brian, tell us a memorable Christmas time.
Okay, memorable Christmas time. Wow. I feel like, let me see, memorable Christmas time. There are many. I don't know which one to pick out. Wow. Okay, this is really deep. This is coming from far, right? So the year was, this is not going to be like a speech. This is going to be like just normal storytelling. I'm worried. For example, the year was 2002, and Christmas is back in the day used to be very serious, as in everyone used to prepare for them from the middle of the year, let's say from June up to the real Christmas day. So this particular time, I remember we prepared as kids to present in church, and I think that's the last time we ever became part of the choir in church. So, Regina, I feel I'm not ready.
Okay.
Feel I'm not ready. Yeah.
Brian, thank you for
trying.
Taking us your memorable Christmas time. And it's okay that you went through that without feeling ready. At the next Toastmasters meeting, and you see you're getting hand claps from the TMOD. At the next Toastmasters meeting,
no.
You will be able to share more. You can now mute, and we will have a Toastmaster take on the next table topic. Brian, we are still proud of you for taking this on. At the next time you have a chance, even if it's coming from far, just continue speaking. Also, a speech is a story. So you would have told a story, and that's a speech. And just as a tip at the end, you can give us a call to action, something we can take home. Even in 1 and 2 minutes, you can say something memorable. We are going to have our next speaker, who is a Toastmaster. Drum rolls, I'm picking from one of the 49 people attending this call. So I hope I pick the one that wants to speak most. Okay, let's hear from Brenda Kakai. Brenda Kakai, your video is on. That means you can deliver a speech. Brenda?
I should have turned off my video. I forgot.
Please, let's all have our videos on. I'm also going to pick those who don't have their videos on, like Blessed and any other person. Yes. If Christmas dinner were a meeting, who would be the chairperson and who would be asked to mute their microphone? Brenda, if Christmas dinner was a meeting, who would be the chairperson and who would be asked to mute their microphone?
Thank you. If Christmas dinner was a meeting, my late mom would definitely be the chairperson because she would have prepared the meal. She would know who is supposed to get what. She would dish out the pieces according to your liking, pieces of meat, pieces of chicken. You would get the piece that you love the most. I believe she would be the chairperson of that meeting. The person who would be asked to mute is my brother, one of my younger brothers. He is such a good storyteller. When he begins to talk, you will forget you're having a meal. You will forget about the deliciousness in front of you and just pay attention to his stories and laugh off your head. Suddenly, my mom would keep telling him, Dennis, stop. We need to eat. Dennis, the food is getting cold. But when he starts with his stories, there is no stopping him. And we have such a wonderful time. I miss those dinners where everyone was at the table and shared stories and had a good time. And my mom kept telling him, Dennis, that's enough. I wish I could have that meeting this year. Unfortunately, it can't happen, but it would be a good time. So for the rest of you, I'd ask, what makes Christmas Christmas for you? Over to you, Table Topics Mistress.
Thank you, Brenda, for delivering a good impromptu speech. And to the guests and members, Table Topics is a segment that allows us to practice impromptu speaking. And as you've seen from our two speakers, each of them has had to think and speak on the go. And Brenda has given us an ask to think about what the Christmas meal would look like. That sounds to me like engaging the audience. That reminds us that Table Topics is a speech with all the roots of public speaking. Like our TMOD has said, in humor, we engage the audience. But even in speech, make sure you are aware of your audience. We are going to have our next Table Topic speaker. Feel free to raise your hand if you want to be gifted the opportunity to practice your impromptu speaking. Sometimes it's okay to volunteer yourself. Why should you wait for others to get the opportunity? And as I wait for volunteers, I'm going to ask drumrolls, a visiting Toastmaster, Laser. I hope I've said that name well. Laser.
Yes, hello, Madam Table Topics Master.
Amazing. I'm happy to have you. I hope you are in a Christmas mood. Almost. Liaison, if you could ban one thing from Christmas forever, what would it be and why?
It's a very thought-provoking concept because we all think of Christmas as a season to be jolly and not to be violent. So something to burn during the festivities is a very tough one. However, I think for me would be the commonly played Christmas playlist, and not in a bad way. But have you found yourself in a moment whereby whenever it gets to December, you start hearing, Mary's boy child, Jesus Christ. And it plays all the way till the 31st, and it even goes to the 31st of January. And I've been hearing that for the last 21 years. And being a musician, there's times where you can take certain music to a certain extent, but then when it becomes too overplayed, it sort of gets to your nerve because you're like, okay, guys, it's enough. You know, we've heard the message, and we can take a bit of a toll. So for me, it would be the overplayed music carols. I feel like there's room for creativity and more innovation rather than the classics, as most of us might call them, to add more spice to the Christmas season. Over to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you to the audience and guests. I like how Lyson helped us give credibility to his speech about what he would ban about the Christmas music. You notice he mentioned as a musician, and that made me think you are very credible to speak about the choice of Christmas music. And I think that's something you could carry on. Even in a table topic speech, you could give yourself an opportunity to give a speech that mentions you as an expert. Bravo to our visiting Toastmaster for that speech. I hope we are learning something from table topics because we are here to improve our communication skills. And most of the communication we have in life is the one that is not planned. Most of the jokes we don't plan. Most of the humor we don't plan. Most of the communications that have held us up or put us down, we did not plan to say those things. So what better place to learn how to be better at impromptu speaking? And again, I'm going to ask for my last table topic. Timer, do I have one more?
I'm afraid we're sort of 11
time.
minutes out, so you don't really have much more time.
It's okay. I
Thank
saw
you.
the red card, and let's conclude the table topic segment. But I pray that each of us will have an opportunity with our family members to practice impromptu speaking. Speak to that cousin you've not spoken to, break the ice, and that's an opportunity for you to practice your impromptu speaking beyond the Toastmasters meeting. Thank you for having me, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Regina, and all the table topics participants who have spoken. Well done. It's an opportunity to develop your impromptu speaking, critical thinking, and active listening skills as demonstrated during that session. I had mentioned that Regina is a secretary. She is not the secretary of Lubowa. I will let you know who the secretary is. As we do that, let's vote. Let's proceed to vote for the best table topics speaker. Brian, Brenda, and Layson, well done. Well done. Our agenda says we will have a break, or we should have had a break, because we are strong and we can run 65 kilometers. We shall just proceed. If you need a break, feel free to take one, but after you voted. However, I will proceed, and also put off your video if you're taking a break. Yes, we do not need to see what you're doing as you take the break. Continue to vote as I give you the responses to some responses to the question that I gave our role taker, which was if Santa Claus was to visit you or your family, what would surprise him the most? Gilbert, our second speaker, says that Santa would be surprised not to find any Christmas-related paraphernalia at home, meaning they'll just be poultry ones. In fact, he would not find them at home. There would be no one. Where will they be? They'll be instead following the star, looking for the newborn king. Perhaps the newborn king is what Gilbert has been running to in his 65 kilometers. I hope you will find the newborn king. Great. Our next session is the evaluation session. This is an opportunity for prepared speakers to learn what they did well and what they can improve on. You and I are also privy to this We listen and use the same feedback for our own speeches. Our first speaker, Marvin, will be evaluated by 3 speakers: Winston Owino on content, Eric Alligator Makori Sr. on delivery, and Catherine Ochako, our grammarian, on language. Over to you, Winston, to start with the evaluations.
What me? Marvin, I felt you excelled at developing such a captivating speech title, which signifies these relatable moments when we are thrust into opportunities we feel we are not prepared for. Second thing I felt you excelled at was the use of quotes. Came at very appropriate moments, rather. For example, the quote by Isaac Newton, standing in the shoulder of giants. Then I also noted you used an imagery. There was this simile you used to describe the task that was before you. It was as if you were raising money for the 8th wonder of the world. Now, I'll proceed to evaluate your speech based on what I felt could have been better. And I'll start with this. I felt your speech could have benefited from a better intro. You started with the question, a good way to start, of course. Then you went to the transition line, Toastmasters and guests. Have you ever found yourself asking that question? But I felt you could have started with the story of how you ended up being chosen to serve as a coordinator for the fundraiser. I felt the beginning, if you started with a story, then it would have been much more better. Then secondly, I felt that this speech could have benefited from a better speech structure, particularly in the body of your presentation. I felt that if you would have explored 3 movements, then it would have brought out your experience as the coordinator of this fundraiser. And the first movement I felt you could have implemented was developing the plan. You could have told us, as much as you were struggling to embrace the role, how did you come up with the plan? What struggles did you face, given that this was your first time? The second movement would have been how you ended up building a team, which is what your project required you to show us. Did you serve with committee members? How did you end up choosing them? What strengths did they bring to this effort? And of course, the third movement would have been how you implemented the plan after you had gone through your struggles of embracing the role, the struggle of finding team members, and then how did you make everyone work together to deliver on the project? Then lastly, I felt as much as you had a strong lesson at the end, which is just taking up opportunities even though you feel you're inadequate, I felt that the experience could have also matched this strong lesson. And the experience, of course, could have come from those 3 movements that I suggested. All in all, Marvin, this is a relatable speech that you can deliver outside of Toastmasters. And I feel if you work on the feedback I've given you, this would be a much better speech. Over to you, Kevin.
Over to me, the delivery evaluator, I believe. And many thanks, our content evaluator. Marvin, what? Me? Rousing start. Rousing and not paltry voice. You also woke up anyone whose mind may not have been here, because in addition to the sense of shock and surprise conveyed by your voice, there was a great, not paltry, effect of drawing us all in the manner in which you began. And you continued using your voice well, and changing this voice, especially as you juxtaposed your participation in that planning meeting where the idea of this third wonder of the world, or was it eighth wonder of the world, was mooted, and the chair of that meeting. And you made that interplay. Yes, you really presented that dialogue very well. What? Me? You repeated it again as stakes rose because you were going to chair that committee. And this demonstrated that the title of the speech was well thought out and it ramified your speech. The chronological order in which you delivered your speech helps to draw us along, to move us along with you. And this also is of profound, not paltry consequence in an effective speech. What? Me? For the last time, you invited us to take our surprise and not so paltry tasks head on. We will imitate you. And hopefully, if we do not raise the 5 trillion Kenya needs to become an industrialized nation, maybe we'll do 500 million. Something that none of us probably has ever raised in such a consequential effort. Yes, it is always great that you have a take-home from every speech. You gave us a take-home. Next time something huge is foisted upon me, I will not say, what, me? I will remember Marvin Luyima's encouragement and take it head on. Great delivery, and I really feel that the only improvement I can give is that give your speeches while standing, not while seated, just like I'm doing during this feedback session. In a prepared speech, try as much as possible to let most of your torso to be seen so that your gestures can also be appreciated. Keep speaking, keep using such tips. You're a great speech deliverer. Over to you, our grammarian, Catherine Ochako.
Thank you for the opportunity. I did note very paltry issues when it came to grammar for this particular meeting, and I'm going to start with that. We say delicious. Deliciousness, I have consulted my dictionary. It explains deliciousness very differently, not in the format that it was used for the particular sentence in which it was used in. And I feel strongly to point out that it could have landed better or used better. Someone said, things I learned from running. In that particular speech, it felt that, or rather that particular line, it should have sounded things I learned from the running experience. I think that is something that should have been mentioned. Like I said, very paltry issues were noted. Now let's go to what the speaker said. That was excellent use of the language. Standing on the shoulder of giants, a quote by Isaac Newton. I particularly enjoyed the big use of words or the English, the flowery use of the English language when it came to that speech, and the similes that were also used while giving the evaluation. The evaluator also used the word ramified. I absolutely enjoyed it. I'm going to stop my evaluation at that. No, before I do, Jacqueline or Sunshine used poultry once. Kevin Rubia used it 5 times. Ali Makori used it 3 times. Thank you so much. Use it throughout the week. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
That is our first round of evaluations, courtesy of content delivery evaluators and our grammarian. We'll have a second round, this time for Gilbert Rutebemberwa. His content evaluator is Patience Alaso, who will then call upon the delivery evaluator, Club Secretary of Lubowa Toastmasters Club, Sharon Nampijja, and we'll have Catherine coming back to specifically talk about the language evaluation for Gilbert's speech. Over to you, Patience.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Gilbert, this is for you. Thank you for delivering an amazing and yet very personal speech. Thank you for walking us through your journey of running and every other thing you were able to learn from that experience. I particularly found your speech to have fulfilled its purpose. And the purpose of your speech was mainly for you to be in position of observing time management patterns. And I believe you did so well when it comes to the element of time management. I also love the fact that your speech had a very well-structured introduction, body, and of course the conclusion. I loved how you introduced us to the speech by telling us a few insights about your speech, which were that running requires commitment, planning, consistency, and endurance. I really loved that. I also love that you became very vulnerable throughout your entire story, told us how you had this particular issue and your doctor suggested that you start running, and that's how you joined the Fast and Furious running club, which I joined once. So yes, I am also an ardent runner. I do have a few recommendations on what I believe we can improve. And one would be that you need to be very clear when it comes to the message that you want your audience to take away. Why do I say this? You had a lot of learnings from your running experience, which is you did tell us that running requires discipline, planning, and endurance. Now, for such meaningful learnings, it would be amazing if you created an acronym for them. For example, you could have told us, I have an acronym that I believe everyone who goes or undertakes a running experience gets to learn. That is D for discipline, P for planning, and E for endurance. In that way, it sticks longer. But I would also like to comment on the fact that you used a lot of valuable lessons. You also gave us a lasting quote by Eliud. Was it Kipcheg? No human is limited. And I also want to commend you on the fact that there was a lot of audience engagement. We saw a lot of comments coming through in the chats and how everyone was very excited about your experience. So lo and behold, it was a very beautiful speech. Just really focus on engaging with your audience and making sure that your point reaches home in a very clear way. Other than that, I believe you are on your way to becoming one of the most phenomenal storytellers and speakers that we'll have here in Uganda. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best in this learning journey. Over to you, Sharon Nampijja, who is going to be our delivery evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patience Alaso, our content evaluator. I'm here today as the delivery evaluator. My role is to give constructive feedback on how the speaker delivered their speech. Gilbert has delivered a speech titled Perfecting My Running. What a powerful title, Gilbert. He has given us a call to action. He has encouraged us to plan well. One of the greatest strengths I observed in Gilbert's speech was platform presence. From the beginning of his speech to the end, I was able to observe and feel the confidence and enthusiasm of the speech. And this drew the audience in. It captivated the audience. I was also able to observe that he used eye contact. He was able to look into his camera, and this helped him to connect with his audience. Gilbert also used his gestures well. While he was delivering his speech, I was able to see his hands moving. While he was giving us some of the points he was able to learn in his journey of running, I was able to see the fingers he was pointing from one finger to another finger. I have like 2 recommendations that I would like to share with Gilbert. One, I would love to encourage Gilbert to position his camera in a place where we are all able to see his whole body. This helps him to make his speech lively and connect with the audience. I could also recommend Gilbert to use facial expressions. For example, when he was talking about how he struggled with keeping up with the endurance, I didn't see the endurance in his face. Gilbert, next time you could do that, just to be able to match your message, your gestures with your facial expression. And also when you were thanking the people who helped you on this journey, you could have smiled. So such that the audience also feels that weight of emotion. Other than that, to sum it up, I loved your presence platform, eye contact, your use of gestures. And if you work on those 2 recommendations, you will become even more a great speaker. Hopefully my evaluation has not been paltry, it has been significant. I might say. Thank you very much. Over to you, the language evaluator.
Thank you. I really do love the quote, "No human is limited," by Eliud Kipchoge. He's a Kenyan marathoner. So I'm glad that Gilbert really did mention that. That was one of the beautiful usage of the English language that I heard from Gilbert. He's a seasoned Toastmaster. That much I know. There was no improper usage of the English language, at least from what I heard. And thank you, evaluator, I forget, for mentioning or using the word paltry. Please make usage of that. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
And there we have it, the triple-tiered evaluations delivered by content evaluator, grammarian, and language evaluators. You will find such evaluations at Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club. That is what adds the advanced to our name. Watabaruku is a Swahili word for people who gather for social purposes. should you be wondering. I will request our chat master to share details on when Lubowa and Watabaruku Toastmasters clubs meet. Should you also be a visiting Toastmaster, feel free to do so in the chat as we proceed to vote for the best evaluator. We had 5 evaluators, including the grammarian. Please vote as I share these responses to the question that I asked them. The question was, if Santa were to visit them or their family, what would surprise him the most? Winston, just like Gilbert, said that Santa would be surprised to realize that he hasn't even set up a Christmas tree or Christmas lights. Eric would shock Santa that he is not welcome to stay, that he knows his origins as Odin and Nicholas, that he knows he's been used for commercial success mainly and has nothing, nada, poultry to do with Jesus, just like Christmas has nothing to do with Christ. See, but there is also an exclamation mark to that. Patience says that we do not rely on his gifts. We have some Santa haters in the room, that we do not rely on his gifts because in our family culture, we already gift one another. Take that, Santa Claus, in case you're watching this recording. Sharon Nampijja says, if Santa visited her this Christmas, he'd be surprised that she won't be eating, I love the word eating, Christmas with her siblings. She will be eating Christmas with other people, perhaps marathon runners like Gilbert. Great. Now that we voted for our best evaluator, we shall proceed to the next tip. I had already given 2 tips, which were, let me know in the chat as I share my screen. What are the 2 tips so far in the K.I.S.S acronym? Let me see if I can see it in the chat. Yes, know your humor style and include everyone, include your audience. Thank you very much for those who put that in the chat. The third point in K.I.S.S, we are kissing in case you've joined us, but this kiss, the S, the first S refers to set up the joke. That means build anticipation. Talk about something and if possible, insert a plot twist. Bring it up. Some of us are good with one-liners, meaning that we may not need to set up a joke. However, having one agenda item and bringing or creating a plot twist or creating anticipation to actually wait for the joke helps, especially when delivering humorous speeches. I will show a video, a 1-minute video. Please be keen. See how this social media comedian, some of you may know him, builds up the plot.
Baby, where are my white, blue, black shirts?
Were you able to hear it? Was it loud and clear?
Yes, we can hear.
Yes.
Fantastic. I will proceed.
Baby, where are my white, blue, black shirts? Wanjika bit. Boss, I just brought them back from the dry cleaners this morning. Let me get them for you. Then the other cupboard. Nambangu. Hizo hata usijali, nimezipiga pasi, nizikunja, ziko pale kwenye drawer, lakini nitazitoa nizipige pasi tena. Ziko sawa. Acha nije nikutafutie mazetu hapa nije. Mimi ndio wardrobe, nimezivaa. Usioni kwani zimehang? Nikutolee kala? Kabati iko kwa mgongo yangu, kuja uchukue. Nataka niongee hapo, useme ninaongea vibaya na unanitafuta mwenyewe. Ama utakuja ukate mboga nikuje nitafute, tu exchange, chagua moja. Kata mboga, nikuje nitafute kabati, uprepare lunch, nikutafutie nguo kwa kabati, si ndio? Waziri.
I hope you got the build up to his joke, contrasting the beauty and elegance of Ugandan and Tanzanian wives vis-a-vis the harshness of Kenyan wives. Of course, we've seen there are Kenya haters in the house, but that was, of course, on a light note. How Ugandans, how Tanzanians treat their wives allegedly was just a build-up to how a Kenyan husband would be treated by his wife. That was the anticipation, the setting up that we were talking about. Now, allegedly is the word. Great. We shall proceed to get our reports. As our timer, let me look at the time. Do we have time? As our timer had put her reports in the chat, Jackie, thank you so much for doing that. Friends, take note if you are above or below time from the report that Jackie has posted. We shall continue straight to get our R counter report. Over to you, Madam R counter.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kevin, for that very insightful session. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I think I'll deliver much better jokes in my next sessions or my next conversations with people. So the purpose of me as the accounter is to take note of pause fillers or current words used by some of our speakers or some of our evaluators. And the purpose of this role is to help you how to learn to connect sentences without using current words or filler words. Because the more you use filler words, the more you lose your audience on the way. So this is a very important role of Toastmasters, and I feel it helps us become much better speakers. Mr. TMOD, you kept on using pause fillers every now and then. And I think it kept on happening because you were looking at something around your environment. So when you get a little bit distracted, I noticed that you use pause fillers. Alaso, you also kept on using pause fillers. I think you were thinking about what to tell your speaker while you were evaluating them. I think sometimes it's good to pause and take note, but not use a pause filler. But your voice was very strong and very energetic. I feel like when you draw with pause fillers, you become a more excellent speaker. Then Mr. Gilbert and Mr. Luyima, I didn't catch any pause fillers. I was really looking out for some. I hope my ear did me justice. That's what actually happened. Brian, since it was your first time doing a speech, you used so many pause fillers, and I understand it's because you wanted to fill in or think of what to say. But once you join Toastmasters, these are things we can solve. These are very easy things. Mr. Liaison, there's something you said, okay guys, I don't think this is a very formal word to use while we are doing public speaking. So I feel like it was a pause filler. Winston, Ali, and Sharon, I also caught a little bit of pause fillers. Yeah. So the person who used the most pause fillers for the day was our Toastmaster of the day because he kept on interacting with his environment. That's what I kept on noticing. Yeah, but that's the report from my side. And I think I can hand the floor back to Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Nakabuye, for that elaborate. You told me to not get distracted for that elaborate report. Well done. Our grammarian, notice friends, the grammarian is really overworked, especially at Watabaruku. I'd like to know if you have anything to add to the depth of feedback that you have already given.
No, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Most welcome, most welcome. There you have it. If you serve as grammarian at Watabaruku, you will not only be the language evaluator, but you'll actually take up the accounter role. That's important for you to know. We call you the super grammarian. That's what makes you an advanced grammarian. Taking up this role will help you improve your vocabulary and your listening skills. On this note, I'd like to invite the very able Paul Kavuma. I mentioned Paul Muwanga because Paul Muwanga is also from Uganda and one of our members at Watabaruku. I am sure Paul Kavuma will join us soon, his fellow Paul, because Pauls keep together. Paul, over to you to give us the general evaluation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening once again, or good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you're logging in from. I promised you that I'm going to be sharing with you feedback, the kind of feedback that is going to act as a compass to guide us and show us what direction we should take if we are going to be excellent in our roles the next time we show up to deliver on them. So I'm going to share with you areas where we have done extremely well and areas where we could have done better. I loved the preparation behind the scenes. I noticed that almost a week ago, the Toastmaster of the day started engaging role takers, asking us prompting questions that he was going to use when introducing us. I loved this. And even when you would not respond in the chat, he would come to your inbox. He came to my inbox 3 times. I had no choice but to respond to the man. Well done, Kevin Rubia. I love that the flyer came out early. People started sharing it in their WhatsApp as profile pictures and as status updates. I'm sure that is why at some point we had 53 people on this call. Well done. We logged in early. And guess what? I found that the president of the club was able to start the meeting at 6:45. Ideally, the flyer was saying 7, but by 6:45, the president was already engaging the members who had logged on and asking us questions and playing a game. Wonderful. These are some of the things we are going to take away from this advanced club and also to take home to our own clubs. Well done. When the president was done with that segment, they invited the sergeant at arms who shared with us rules for today's meeting. They started by telling us the disclaimer that if you've attended the meeting, it means that you've agreed that your face will appear in the video of the recording. It's important to remind us. Thank you for also reminding us the etiquette of how to name ourselves for those who are taking on roles. I also like that since there were more than one president in the house, the president of Watabaruku was able to invite the president of Lubowa, who also started off by telling us or introducing to us their executive committee. There's still a lot that I love that I'm still sharing. I like that the timing cards were being displayed side by side. As the speaker was speaking, there were timing cards on the side. Good job. I liked that even when there was a power blackout when our counter was introducing their role, there was just a paltry distraction because she still went ahead and introduced her very well. Well done, our counter. I liked the innovation of the use of the audience feedback poll. to replace the actual physical feedback slips. Most online meetings don't do that. That's something else I've picked from this advanced club. Thank you so much for showing us how it's done. Back to the Toastmaster of the day. I love his humor. I loved his humor and how he was able to address some of the glitches during the meeting. For example, when someone's microphone unmuted, he quickly knew what to say, humorous enough such that he still gets back on track. I liked that he also used different visual aids. He was showing us a presentation PowerPoint. He even played a video. It shows good preparation. Here are also some areas that we could have worked on or need to work on to have an even more exciting meeting next time. The timer. I wish you had displayed your cards when introducing your roles, such that we know what you meant by how the green card will be displayed, how the yellow and red will be displayed. You might want to consider that next time. Table topics master. I would have appreciated if you had also shared with us the relevance of the table topics session during Toastmasters meetings, just to remind us why it's important to participate in table topics. Also, next time you might consider selecting seasoned Toastmasters or Toastmasters that don't have meeting roles, such that by the time you get to a guest, they have seen and witnessed how to deliver a table topic and it will be less nerve-wracking. I also noticed as the table topics master was moving from one table topic speaker to the next, there was a bit of delay. Why? Because they were giving almost a whole speech within the transition. You want to keep it short and allow the table topic speakers to do more of the speaking. The evaluators, good job, great listening skills. You are very observant. Areas where you could have done better. I noticed that the delivery evaluators were commenting on a take-home message and call to action. I felt that, I thought that delivery is about commenting on what you've seen, facial expressions, hand gestures, and body movement, and then leave the take-home message to the content evaluators. I noticed that the language evaluator at some point focused more on giving grammatical areas for improvement for the all the road takers, as opposed to giving areas of improvement for grammar for only the first speaker. You might want to take note of that next time. I also noticed the language evaluator mentioned that Gilbert is a seasoned Toastmaster. Usually it's advisable when you're giving feedback, you focus on the delivery and not the speaker. Focus on the speech. Aside from that, I loved this meeting. And tell you what, it's unique. It's bringing together not only two clubs, but two countries. It's a cross-cultural meeting. I know that they played a video that is scaring us from getting Kenyan wives, but for us who are single, we shall still go ahead and continue attending such meetings. Never know what gift Santa has for us. Thank you so much. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the day.
Amen to that. Can I hear the Kenyan women saying amen? The Ugandan men are still looking for you, as so as the Tanzanian men in the room. If you're looking to find a spouse, people have found spouses in Toastmasters, not only feedback and ways to improve their public speaking and evaluation skills. This leads me to our final point when it comes to bringing out humor. Start a story collection. That is what the last S stands for. You may think you're not funny, but there are subtle, funny, sometimes poultry things that may happen in your life that will cause others to laugh, especially because they're relatable. It can be at home with your family, like your child, something they say, out with your girlfriends as you are having a Wednesday night or Friday night out, or with your boys drinking and enjoying the Christmas season. Take note of these things, write them down, and you'll remember them come next year when it comes to delivering your speeches. In summary, know your type of humor, identify the different types and know what works for you. Include everyone. That means knowing your audience and making sure that the humor that you bring out is appropriate for them. Set it up by building anticipation where possible and start a story collection. That way, you'll be able to kiss your audience with humorous stories and speeches. Happy holidays back to you, our president.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster of that amazing meeting. Just to correct, I hope that kiss is going to be one of those kisses from the Bible, the brotherly one, not, yeah, whatever. But thank you so much for those amazing tips that you have shared with us this evening. I couldn't resist making that joke. It was an amazing meeting. Thank you to all the role takers who have made this meeting a success. And before we bring this meeting to a close, let me share the results of the poll that we had. First up, we have the table topics, best table topic speaker. Drum rolls. Laser, congratulations on an amazing response to your table topics. Then the best evaluator for this meeting, another drum roll. There was a tie, Patience Alaso and Eric Alligator Makori. Congratulations to the both of you. And finally, the best speaker for this evening, final drum roll. Congratulations, Mr. President Marvin Luyima, on your speech. I would now like to recognize new members of Watabaruku Toastmasters who've joined us recently. First of all, Jackie Njonjo, thank you so much, our timer for this evening, for joining. Welcome to Watabaruku Toastmasters. And Catherine Ochako for joining us. Welcome to Watabaruku Toastmasters. It's such a pleasure to have you. We can't wait to see the progress that you're going to make on your own personal public speaking and leadership skills at Watabaruku. If you'd like to become a member of Lubowa Toastmasters, please reach out to Kenneth Kajora, the VPM of Lubowa. And also, if you'd like to become a member of Watabaruku, please reach out to Gilbert Rutebemberwa, who is the Vice President membership of Watabaruku. I would now like to give a very brief opportunity to the VPEs of our club to tell us the next meeting and if they would like us to reach out to them for any roles. First up, we have the VPE of Lubowa, Agnes Watsemba. Are you there? Or anybody? Yeah, Agnes is there, chat master.
I'm here. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thanks everybody for such a wonderful meeting. This is our last meeting of the year. We'll meet again on 3rd January, Saturday, 3rd January. It's going to be a fun day out for all Toastmasters who can make it. If you're in Uganda, please consider joining us. We're going to be at the beach, lots of fun, lots of team building activities, as well as an hour or two of a normal Toastmasters meeting all day out. I've shared the flyer here in the chat. We look forward to seeing many of you. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much, Madam VPE. Mr. VPE, tell us whether you're going to top that, a beach party. Can you top that for our next meeting?
My condolences, I cannot top that. However, we shall still have our meeting online. The beauty is you don't have to be on a beach to join us. You can as well join us even in the toilet. All roles are open, and please reach out to me in case you want a role. Priority will go to Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters, of course. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. VPE. I remember the last time I attended a beach Toastmasters meeting in Uganda. I turned up in a full suit and it was so hot. And it was a crazy experience for me. I didn't realize it was going to be right at the beach. So don't turn up in a suit like me if you're going to go for that meeting. Now I'd like to give an opportunity to just one guest to give us feedback on how they found our meeting this evening. Anybody who'd like to share their thoughts about our meeting this evening before we bring this meeting to a close? I was wearing a suit
Roland
because...
Guerrero.
Sorry?
Guerrero.
Yes, please. Roland, would you like to share what you thought of our meeting? Yes, I see a hand, Blessed.
Volunteered him because I thought he was from another district, but back to you.
Let's hear from Brian, then Blessed.
All right. This is, again, Brian. I think this time maybe I might be more prepared. This was my first time attending any of the Toastmasters events, so I have nothing to compare it to, but it is better than I actually expected. It's lively. There's so much to learn. I'm sorry for the hours. I saw the R master. I hope she's not capturing me. There's so much to learn here. There's so much content and there's so much humor. Yeah. Thank you, guys. It's been an honor being here.
Thank you so much.
I am
Thank
back
you so
to you.
much. Yeah. And finally, Blessed.
Hello. I am so glad that I decided to log in for this particular meeting. The mashup between Lubowa and Watabaruku is just amazing. I love the cross-cultural differences and the humor was on point. TMOE, thank you so much. Another thing I would really like to commend is the content and delivery evaluators. That was a wonderful touch. I haven't seen it before. I hadn't thought about it that way as a newbie to Toastmasters, but I am so glad that I joined. Thank you. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Blessed, for joining us. Thank you so much to all the rest of us for joining us this evening. It was such a great pleasure to spend this evening with you. I would like to wish you a happy Christmas and a happy New Year and a great weekend ahead. Looking forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next year when we continue to grow ourselves as public speakers and leaders. And I would now like to adjourn this meeting. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.